As women, we are strong.
One of you is about to become Miss Universe. Miss Trinidad and Tobago is Miss Universe.
We are resilient.
They are more accepting today, the African in us, than they used to.
We are nurturing.
We are going to call you Calypso Rose, which means rose is the mother of all flowers.
We each have a story that can inspire and motivate others.
I thank God for every blessing He has given me, especially this son.
Every week at the Xanadu Tropical Resort, we chat with some of the most beautiful women who are making an extraordinary contribution to Trinidad and Tobago. They share their journey unscripted and real. This is The Pink Ego. Today on The Pink Ego.
Right. This was actually the first song that I recorded with my producers, Analog Escape. I love writing about love, so Black and White came very naturally. Not exactly from any of my experiences, but it just came from life or feeling what it is to love. Today I'll be doing Black and White.
Black and White. All right, let's give it a go, shall we?
There's something about the way you make me feel. Your love has cast a spell over me, and I can't hide it. No, I can't deny it, and I can't find it. No, 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 no. What am I supposed to do with you, baby?
So, Natalia, Roxanne,
Yeah.
how are you?
I'm good. Happy to be back home
Yeah.
for a little bit again.
Yeah, it's been I actually wanted to meet you for a long time, so it's like this is something that was coming.
Yeah.
Because the last time, you're like, well, you're not here, so I was like, okay, fine, next time.
Yeah.
So it's great
Right.
that we finally get to meet and talk and
Yes.
whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
I have listened to your music and I think it's great. So good
Thank
job and
you.
congratulations on that.
you.
Yeah. But before we get into Natalia, Roxanne, the artist, you want to get into Natalia Garcia?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit. I'm sorry, did I burst about the cat on the bag? You know, I know artists are like, that's my name, that's my stage name, let's keep it stage, you know?
Yeah. No, I get a lot. People are like,
yeah.
wait, is Roxanne your last name? So,
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
it's not.
It's your middle name.
It's my middle name.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about Natalia Garcia first.
Ah.
Yeah. We're gonna go there.
In terms of
just tell me your journey in terms of a child, your childhood a little bit. I know that you were Trinidad born, but you're based now in the US, yeah?
Right.
So tell me a little bit about your life in Trinidad before you left.
Okay, well, I'm a South girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like whole
Shout
different
out to
land.
San Fernando, yeah.
Yeah.
So born and raised in South, single parent home. So raised by my mom and my grandparents.
Okay.
So I knew early on that I loved music.
Right.
You know, so I was told that I had been singing from the age of 3.
Okay.
And just really into, music and sound and different things. And so I attended San Fernando Girls Government, and I went on to Gasparilla Composite. And so I had I think at Gasparilla Composite is where I really kind of developed a lot more of just my love for music. I would often just sing like the national anthem in the mornings on the PA system. And, I did a couple of talent shows. I actually also did like a pageant that they had. I actually won. Okay. So that was a big deal. And yeah, so and those things I think really kind of opened me up, build self-confidence and that kind of thing. Being on stage. That life. Yeah. And then I was also heavily involved in church. Okay. I attended Living Word Christian Center. It was overseen at the time by Pastor Nelson Sami. Okay. And so while I was there, Chris Valbosa, I don't know if you're familiar with her. She's a really well-known vocal instructor. At that time. So she actually had her lessons, her classes at our church. Okay. On our church grounds. And somebody at my church, he heard me humming one day and he said, "Wait a minute, you kind of have a little tone there. What are you doing?" Yeah, right. So I'm like, well, at that time I'm just kind of playing around. And little did I know that, he actually went to my pastor and said, "Hey, Natalia can sing." I played her, and they actually set up voice lessons for me at Chris Valbosa's Vocal Academy. Okay. And so I did that for, I think it was a 6-month course, and, graduated. I think she noticed that I was intimidated, and, one thing she told me that stuck with me is, be you. And trust in your gift. Exactly. There will be, people with bigger voices, unique voices, but your gift is just custom made to you, and so that has really kind of helped me through the years as I've gone on my journey. And then after that, I actually started writing my own songs. Okay. So I would just kind of hum melodies and figure out, okay, I want it to sound like this, and then I would start writing. Okay. And my writing took on, I think it was derived from just personal stuff, things that I was feeling at the time, listening to other, artists and stuff like that, and just, whatever came out. And then I think, so around that time, it was, almost time for me to write CXC and figure out life after that, what I wanted to do. And so I told my mom, I said, well, I think I'll have a chance to improve and, just see where it goes if I, went abroad to study. Okay. And of course she was like, nah. I mean, her only child, girl child, wanting to just take this big step.
Leave the nest.
Yeah, so she was not having it at first, and I remember getting a summer job at some point, and the first thing I did with my first paycheck, I bought my luggage. Okay. And
so you were serious about that.
I was very serious. And so I think, she realized after a while, hey, this is what you want to do. And really by faith, I left. I mean, we obviously didn't have, a whole lot of money to put me through school for, the 4 or 5 years.
Right. You learn how to really accept, who you are, and I think that's a great lesson, and I'm sure it definitely kept on, and it kept you going at times as well too, when you remember that. And it's important because I always tell people, we may do the same thing, but because it comes from me and it comes from you, it's always different. And if we embrace our individuality, it's always going to be something special. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Exactly. I know my experience growing up with a single mom. How was that for you, though, in terms of just, being in that household of just your mom and not having your dad really around and stuff?
Well, actually, I didn't know my dad. I never met him or anything like that. And so it didn't necessarily feel like a void, just because you didn't know this, you don't know this person. But of course, as you get around friends and everybody's talking about mom and dad this and both parents, you're like, oh, okay. I can't talk about my dad. Where at? Yeah, right. And so and there were moments, like when when you have your accomplishments and you know really good things happen, you know, you're like, man, you know, I kind of wish I had that that family structure of both parents. But I didn't feel, on the other hand, I didn't feel like I missed out on anything. You know, my grandparents, like I said, were really, you know, just there in my life. You know, and then I had cousins, my aunt. You know, so I mean, it was good.
It's amazing how these little things, when you look back on it, how it, you know, it really did affect your journey, or just it taught you so much for now in life. It's like when you're young, you're not really thinking about it, but like when you get older and you kind of have your own experiences, like, oh wow, I was being trained to handle this part of my life or this stage of my life. Let's talk a little bit about when you left Trinidad and you went to, where did you go first?
Miami.
Miami. Okay. Let's talk.
So I left, of course, to pursue studies at Florida Memorial University, very small, historically black college in Miami. And that was funny because at first, well, so when I left Trinidad, that was my first time, you know, flying, you know, new country, and I actually went by myself. My mom, unfortunately, couldn't travel with me. And so, I mean, I cried the entire flight. Really? I did. And, you know, it already felt like eternity. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So, ironically enough, and you know, God just has a way of, He really just does things, stuff. You know, and when you look back, you're like, wow. And so the international student advisor for that school was actually on that same flight next to me.
You kidding?
Yeah. So, you know, I told her I'm heading there, you know, and she was like, oh my gosh, you know, so she actually took me under her wing when we got there. You know, she realized, of course, I was, you know, really sad about leaving home. And, you know, so she actually took me under her wing, and she started to, she would come check on me in my dorm, and you know, she really started to look out for me, and unfortunately she passed away a couple years ago. But you know, even then, you know, God just
put her in place to kind of
put her in that place
to cushion,
for that moment.
to cushion everything.
And I was just like, oh my, what are the odds? You know? And so, like I said, you know, I went there on faith, really. You know, I paid my tuition first semester, and then it was like, okay, what am I gonna do? And just kind of matriculating through you know, school.
What was your major though?
It was music.
Okay.
Concentration in vocal.
Okay.
You know, so even that was challenging because, you know, okay, now you're in the U.S. I mean, so many talented students came there. And, you know, even the American, you know, students and stuff who, you know, almost all of them grew up in church. And so they're coming with, you know, they're doing all the runs. And I'm like sitting there like, why am I here again? You know,
my gosh.
So I definitely had to pull back that message from
Chris. It's your gift,
And so that, you know, that was intimidating. I had my moments of, you know, just like, wow. And then, you know, you kind of look at it as, okay, how can I learn from this? Or, you know, you start to associate yourself with people who are just really passionate about what they do. And, you know, you have to apply yourself, you have to study, and, you know, and so I actually opened up myself to a lot more music. Actually, I started listening to more jazz when I was going there because we had certain course, you know, studies that focused in around different genres of music. So I couldn't kind of get away from it, but then I found like, wow, this is so amazing. You know?
And based on your tone as well, jazz is like kind of fitting too as well.
Yes, because I'm an alto.
So jazz is like perfect. It's like
I live right there.
When you realized that you probably couldn't have gone back to school after that first semester, what was that like?
That was nerve-wracking. It was. I mean, so, you know, you start thinking like, okay, I made this decision to leave home, and then, you know, you have all these people, you know, rooting for you, supporting you, whether it's financially or just, you know, keeping you encouraged, and you have that feeling of I don't want to let these
Them
people down. And then too, for me personally, I just felt like I wanted to migrate over to the US because I felt like I had a better chance with my music.
Right.
Because at the time, I don't think there were a lot in place. There was a lot in place resource-wise here for the arts.
Yeah, it's true.
Because we're talking like this was 2003 or 4.
Okay, right.
So now there's I forgot the name of around the Savannah.
UCT, Napa, right?
There's so much in place.
Which is still
now.
underused, by the way. Anyway, it's still kind of underused anyway because the amount of talent that we have, it should be like.
True.
Yeah. But it is what it is, and I guess.
Yeah. So at the time, you're kind of feeling like, okay, this is what I really want to do, but there isn't like enough resources at home, to do it.
Yeah.
So, there was that. I did come home, that summer after that first semester, and I got a job here. It's actually telling Timothy in the car coming that I actually contemplated like, okay, I could actually stay here because I got a job at WASA in San Fernando. Okay. And I'm like, this could work. Comfortable,
it's comfortable, but
easy.
Right.
But I said, no, challenge yourself.
Exactly.
You don't know what awaits. And, again, I got back on that plane, to start. And luckily, I really proved myself at school and I was able to get scholarships. And fortunately, too, there were like some grants that were being offered from Trinidad, actually, for students abroad at the time. So I was able to, be a recipient of that.
Okay.
And so...
And you made it through.
I made it through.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about your music as well. So from there, when did you really start performing? And I mean, I'm probably sure you were performing before, but when did it become like, okay, I'm performing, this is something a different level and stuff like that?
Well, before I left Trinidad, I was naive, right, to the music industry and how it works, right? You see the glamorous life on TV and you're and you kind of think it's easy, more, like I can go over the States and manager is gonna see me, or a record label exec is gonna see me and they'll hear me and they'll be like, oh yeah, and when I got to the US, reality hit and you realize, man, it is not like that. It's not that easy. You have to really work, and you realize that a lot of people pay their dues and they've been in it just trying to get their big break for years. And so at school I got the opportunity to record. I kind of got the chance to really kind of feel what that's like, being in a recording studio for the first time when I was in college. And so I did backgrounds for a couple people, nobody really big, but just just the experience. I was in the school's choir, so we traveled a lot and we sang at different churches and whatnot, so that was fun. And then so after school I moved to New York, hoping to also just kind of make it big, because then it became, okay, well, you have to be in certain cities.
Yes. If you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. Right. That's what they say. Right?
Exactly. Which is kind of true. New York was tough. But so I mean, the big cities like New York, LA, Miami, Atlanta, so I moved to New York. Again, no real plan for anything, just on faith again. And then I realized, okay, New York, I have to have a job to survive. So I got a job, and then life kind of happened and steered me off of music for a bit. So
we're not gonna slide through that. We're gonna talk about that. What was that detour? Let me hear.
We're not gonna gloss over that.
No, that's not what.
So I got married.
Okay.
Shortly after, my son made his debut. And then now you're thinking, okay, this is life.
Right.
And you switch gears from you know, your dreams, and you're like, I'm a mom now, I'm a wife, you know, so you know, all of that. But music never left me though. It was just still around me, and I just kind of told myself one day, I said, you know what, Natalia, don't waste this talent. You know that this is what, you know, you want to do.
Yeah.
And when you have that passion, it's just so hard to just like forget about it.
Yeah, and then you have regrets eventually, and that's not cool. So, that's no.
So I said, you know what, give it your all, like give it your best shot. And so in New York, I teamed up with a small recording studio, mostly Jamaicans, so I was doing more of like reggae.
Right.
Unfortunately, you know, things didn't work out there. And my mom came to visit me in New York one time, and she said, you should move to Houston. Like, I don't like it here for you. It's not like the most family-oriented city, and you know, the economy is so much better in Houston and all that. So I said, okay. So I thought about it, and we packed up and left. I contacted this offer I saw. So the guy answers, and you know, I'm like, hey, I'm new to Houston, looking for, you know, a photo shoot. And he said, okay. He said, this is kind of interesting, because he had called on that day to take off his, you know, his thing. So he said, okay, well, since you already caught me, you know, I'll do it. You know. So met up with him, and then he asked me about myself and what I was doing, and I told him I sing, and you know, so he actually connected me. He was like, hey, I know these really good producers, you know, and he called them right away. Like he was like, hey, I have this girl, she's new here, looking for producers, and so I met with them. This was like 2014, right? I met with the producers. I sang for them, they really liked me, and I did not do anything. Like, I met them. Yeah. I knew they were good. Right. They heard me, but nothing happened. Okay. It started to become challenging just within my personal life, you know, with marriage and everything. And so I had a lot to write about, I had a lot to talk about, and, you know, these songs were just, you know, coming. And I reconnected with the guys in 2015, like almost a year later, and that's when something happened. And Black and White and Cool Loving You and all those songs were born.
Yeah. So at that point, things were coming to an end in your marriage. What was happening there, though?
Yeah. So I would say. Actually, during recording my songs, it was tough because, you know, you're going through. Right. And, you know, there was a lot of emotions. Of course, the producers I was working with had no clue what was going on in my personal life, because it just wasn't anything I talked about. Of course. And, you know, so I'm like braving through songs, and sometimes I'm like, I don't want to do this. But I felt like in the midst of all of that, it was therapeutic for me, just being in the recording studio. And just being able to, through music, express, you know, I think it helped for a much more like authentic kind of, you know, feeling through the music. So it actually worked.
And then you discover a lot more about yourself, and being strong as well, because you have to now get a job done and still have to deal with all of that as well. So let's talk about right now. Present. Present. So Natalia, evolution is so important, and we all need to do it. And I mean, I commend you, you know, for pushing through and now being this woman who is emerging as an artist and stuff like that. So talk to me a bit about, we talked about Natalia Garcia.
Okay,
But let's talk about Natalia Roxanne.
Yes. The artist.
The artist, darling.
Well, she's been on an interesting journey. But I think now it's, like you said, it's so much more of a confidence and an acceptance of, this is me. Right. You know, and you kind of, you just kind of push through, not necessarily needing anybody's validation.
Tell me a bit about your music. Describe what vein do you fit into, if you do, because I know that now it's like it's not about being part of any particular
box. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I would say my sound is very much relatable to R&B, soul, reggae.
Yeah.
Then of course fusing that with some of my jazz influences and sometimes some pop influences. I just don't really have a
no
biasness to music. I just feel like it's really cool to just create.
What is the next step though for Natalia Roxanne?
I don't necessarily, I don't know, I think just kind of thinking about the whole journey and the fact that there were so many unknown variables, but like when I walked into them,
just everything just lined up.
It just lined up, and so I try not to be too structured with music, because I just feel like one moment lends itself to the other, so it's like a domino effect. And for me, I know I want to do my EP for sure. My personal goals, I would say, is definitely to just continue to make music that's relatable, that people connect with, that people enjoy. It's just what I love to do, and wherever that is meant to take me, I think it'll happen.
One of the things that I really want to get out of this is that women own who they are and be comfortable in that, because society tells us what we should do and how we should look like, and everybody now looks the same and wants to look the same, want to talk the same, and so individuality is not praised anymore. It's not, modesty isn't even praised anymore. It's like, if you're modest, that means you're insecure. It's like, no, I actually think that means something, more. So I think that you, in this space, I think now you can really go forward and be you, and that is going to just take you so far, just being true to that and being true to yourself. And I'm glad that you come to that space where you're like, this is me and this is my voice and you're gonna listen. Very important. So I just wish you all the best. Thank you so much for sharing your story with me.
No problem. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you for having me.
Sure, anytime.
Okay, I'll be back.
Sure, of course.
You just need to know, right? So hope you enjoy. This is my story. Don't know where to start, but I gotta say it. Can't fight this feeling anymore. This is crazy. It's like you cast a spell on me. I just can't break it.